Hey everyone, Daniel here, and welcome back to another video. Here today, I want to sit down and give you guys my opinions on CleanSpark stock, ticker symbol CLSK. This is a company that competes both in the microgrid and the cryptocurrency space through mining. And in this video, I want to give you guys a rundown as to what I think the opportunity will be here in the short term, and if CLSK provides an interesting opportunity to us as investors. So if you enjoy these videos and want to request potentially another stock for me to look at, let me know down in the comments section below. Let's get into it. First thing we need to understand, the core business of CleanSpark originally used to be microgrids, right? Where, if you don't know what microgrids are, they essentially organize and really create more efficiency in the energy system, right? So when we look at this business here, it originally created potentially a few $1,000,000 a quarter in actual revenue. And in 2021, we're expecting right around $20 million in revenue coming from the microgrid business. Now, what I think really happened with CleanSpark here is we had a situation where this was the original business, right? And then the business was based off of this, the microgrid sector. And what we saw is CleanSpark take advantage of another opportunity that has now become the forefront of their business. What is that? Cryptocurrency slash Bitcoin mining, right? And when we look at this kind of expansion into the Bitcoin mining industry, I do think it's a very smart play for them, as they are in the microgrid space currently, and there is an opportunity for them. But I think they're going to make so much more money from using their own technology mining Bitcoin than they would by just selling these microgrid systems, and that's what I think one of the big benefits of CleanSpark is the fact that they're using their own technology to really create more efficiency within their system when it comes to Bitcoin mining. And when we look at the whole system as a whole and the whole business as a whole, I think it's much less dependent on the success of the microgrid side and is much more dependent on the cryptocurrency business, which we're going to take a look at in this video and try and fully fundamentally analyze exactly where this Bitcoin business is worth and could be worth going forwards. So obviously now, we're going to take a deep dive into this cryptocurrency and try and do some math as to what potential revenues and profit margins could be for them and how that can translate to a stock price. I haven't had this prepped, so I'm going to kind of take you guys behind the scenes as to what goes behind my thinking process when analyzing a company like CleanSpark. So this is obviously just some where they collect their energy. Here is the most interesting thing first and foremost. CleanSpark as a whole mined right around 1.8 average Bitcoins in the month of March. So right away we know that they mined 56 Bitcoins in March, 1.8 per day. Now, what we have to understand that, the average price of Bitcoin fluctuates, which means that when we look at CleanSpark, their margins tend to fluctuate as well, and will as long as cryptocurrencies continue to move around in a massive, massive way. And when we look at a company like CleanSpark here, we are at a situation where, they're scaling rapidly. Right now, the hash rate, I'm not too familiar with the exact numbers, but we have right around 315 per second. The situation with this is that we expect this number to increase substantially over the coming months, right? To a point where they're, increasing the capacity of their Bitcoin mining 3, 4, 5x leading into late this year, essentially expecting this number to go up to 2,000. Right? That's a substantial increase from where it is right now. And when we look at this whole situation, this gives us a good sense as to where their mining capacity could be potentially this summer and then potentially late in 2021. So one thing that we do have to know before we keep going, the profitability of their Bitcoin is absolutely phenomenal. At a price of $60,000 per Bitcoin, their margins are 85%. Absolutely huge margins on this Bitcoin profit. It's almost pure profit coming out from this Bitcoin sector. But when we really think about it here, this 85% margin allows us to get a fixed cost. For example, we take $60,000 per Bitcoin and we multiply that by a 15% expense ratio. 85% profits, 15% go to expenses, which gives us a rough cost of $9,000 per Bitcoin, obviously significantly lower than where it is today. So what we can do, we can plot this into a chart, and I have made one here that we can actually take a look at. Let's assume, I'm going to put this down to $50,000 for now, given how Bitcoin has stabilized around that range. Assume a price per coin of right around $9,000, right? So that's how much it costs CleanSpark to mine one coin. Now, let's take gross profit of $41,000, take the Bitcoin price minus the price per coin, you get gross profit per coin mined. You take 365 days per year. Bitcoin mining never stops. Bitcoin is essentially a sector that never sleeps. It's not like the stock market that closes on weekends and only goes from 9:30 to 4 o'clock at night. Essentially, Bitcoin is 24/7, 365. So when we look at this whole situation here, we multiply 365 days per year by right around 9 Bitcoins mined, and we get gross profit of $134.6 million. Now, how did I get this 9 Bitcoins mined per day? We got to go back here to the essentially the slide that looks at how much Bitcoin they mined throughout the month of March. 1.8 Bitcoins mined throughout the month of March. If we take a look and divide 9 by roughly 1.8, right, which is what I'm assuming, that's right around a 5x from where it is here today. So assuming a 5x, I'm assuming the hash rate to go from 315 to right around 1,575, obviously significantly higher than where it is today. 1,575 fits right in the range of late 2021. So when I'm looking at these numbers here, guys, I'm taking a look at the potential that CleanSpark has given where they're expected to be in late 2021 as they continue to rapidly scale their systems and acquire new sites. So assuming 9 Bitcoins mined per day, we can use this number pretty substantially to get that gross margin or that gross profit of right around $134.6 million in gross profit. Now, depending on the operating expenses, and I should put taxes here as well. Now, I don't assume CleanSpark that they pay too much in taxes for 2021, given how much money they've lost over the past couple of years. They can use that as a tax tool to pay less taxes. But you know what? I'm assuming 30%. You got to give some to salaries. You got to go ahead and pay the extra costs associated with the people running this whole Bitcoin operation. You also have taxes, as I mentioned previously. This could be a little high. Honestly, I could put this potentially closer to 25%. That gives us net income of right around $100 million, which puts their current price to earnings ratio, using that number, at right around 6. That's obviously given a share price of right around $18 per share and shares outstanding of 33.8 million shares. That gives us a market cap of $600 million, and given potentially a 20 price to earnings ratio, which could be fair for a company like this, we get a fair value of right around $2 billion. Now, obviously, a price to earnings ratio of 20 really depends on the sentiment around cryptocurrency companies like CleanSpark. If we assume potentially a price to earnings ratio of 15, which could be a little more conservative, that gives us a share price still significantly above where we are here today, currently trading at around $18 per share, potential fair value of $45 per share. Now, this price per Bitcoin here, this really determines the amount of gross profit and the valuation of CleanSpark. At $50,000 per coin, we obviously make $41,000 in gross profit per coin down the road. If this number goes up to $60,000, which it very well could down the line, we essentially get a massive increase in net income, up 25%, which leads to a massive increase in the fair value of each share. Obviously, I'm not even factoring in any of the potential that the microgrid business will provide CleanSpark. I'm just taking a look at their Bitcoin side of their business, and anything else that comes is a cherry on top, for example, with a company like CleanSpark. So assuming potential $60,000 per Bitcoin, we get a significant increase in share price. So when we look at a company like CleanSpark here, and I just want to give you guys my final thoughts on it, this is a company that is really dependent on Bitcoin staying above a certain threshold. But what's really good about CleanSpark is the fact that, that threshold isn't that high. At $9,000 per coin, they can pretty much run their systems year in and year out. Even if Bitcoin crashes 50, 60, 70%, they're fine. And that's the beautiful thing about them, and that's why their microgrid system is so phenomenal and really adds a very nice touch to their Bitcoin mining operating systems. So now comes the question, am I buying, selling, or holding? Let me make this very clear. CleanSpark is a phenomenal company that has really taken advantage of the cryptocurrency system in a massive, massive way, and I absolutely love the fact that they implemented their current microgrid system with their Bitcoin operations to improve profitability. When we look at the stock currently, it has been absolutely decimated. There is no other way to put it, going from right around $40 per share to now under 20 bucks. Now, what I really want to point out, over the time that Bitcoin has essentially stabilized, CleanSpark has fallen significantly. Why is this? Well, mainly investor sentiment. It's not like the business behind CleanSpark has, deteriorated in any way whatsoever. In fact, you could argue that it's actually improved over that same time frame from the beginning of January. And, when you look at the Bitcoin chart here, Bitcoin's actually gone up significantly since then. So, was this a situation where the stock was just overbought? Most likely. But generally speaking, when you look at the fundamentals of their current business here, and given the opportunity to potentially expand into potentially even more than 9 Bitcoins per day, there is a lot of opportunity here with CleanSpark as long as you do your research. Now, I'm not saying my predictions are going to come true. I mean, I'm just some guy on YouTube here, going through some numbers with you guys. But, I'm already pretty heavily exposed in the cryptocurrency industry. Let me make that very clear. Voyager Digital is my biggest position, making up 45%. They're like the Robin Hood of cryptocurrencies, if you don't know what they are. Ticker symbol VYGVF. Now, CleanSpark is another way to essentially trade the cryptocurrency industry. It's a bet that cryptocurrencies will stay at around these prices or that cryptocurrencies will increase. And as long as that happens, CleanSpark will benefit in a massive, massive way. And I find it very surprising that their valuation is at the levels that it's at here today based on, where they plan on being with production capacity. And it's not like analysts in Wall Street are blind to this. I mean, this company, according to Yahoo Finance here, and analysts on Yahoo Finance, is trading at a forward PE of 6.24. That's crazy, guys. So I think the situation with CleanSpark is very similar to the situation with Voyager Digital, where you have a company that essentially, analysts and Wall Street still hasn't really kind of seen the full story. Why? I mean, it could be a few reasons, but just generally speaking, I think it's because these earnings that they've been earning over the past couple of months here haven't been reported on paper yet, haven't been reported in a quarterly report yet. That's significantly. Now that's about to change because tomorrow CleanSpark is reporting their second quarter earnings for 2021. In that report, we're expecting a ton of Bitcoin to be recognized, potentially a ton of Bitcoin profits to be recognized. And I think as long as they do well here in this earnings report, we could see positive momentum going in for the stock for the remainder of the next couple of days, potentially couple of weeks, to change the sentiment around it. But when I analyze CleanSpark, I see a company that, based on where they are here today with their production of Bitcoin capacity, is trading significantly under where their fair value should be for even a company essentially, kind of decreasing revenues. And keep in mind, this is a company growing revenues. And my models don't even, price in the potential or any potential for CleanSpark to continue expanding their microgrid business, which could rather become a huge profit generator for them in the back half of the next decade here, potentially, as the microgrid system is expected to compound at a 30% annualized compounded rate over the next 10 years to potentially a $30 to $40 billion industry. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you being here. If you have any other companies that you want me to analyze, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.